What's up, YouTube? Now, you see the title of this video, and you see the image that I have on the screen. Now, I wasn't going to make another video on this, man. I was going to really leave the situation alone because I already made my video on it. You want to see that, just go see the last video before this one. But I'm gonna try to make this video quick because I want to address, like I said, you see the title of the video. I'm going to address what the image on the screen is, and I'm going to address the thumbnail and why the thumbnail is what it is. But, you know, this Sambo ass nigga, Angryman, right? He has once again come to, engage in Sambo behavior as he does when it comes to these types of situations. When it comes to racist whites, coming out the woodworks to scream about the blacks, right? The Sambo will always take the position of racist whites. They will never call out white people on their fuck shit, on their hypocrisy, or any of their degenerate behavior, because this is the job of a Sambo Negro. So Angryman recently did a live stream where he decided to defend, right? He decided to defend the position of people who are saying Carmelo Anthony, he's this and that. He called him a hooligan and all this nonsense. He's this and that, trying to portray him as a thug, right? Showing the picture of him with a airsoft gun and all this dumb shit, right? Now, here's the problem with this situation. And this is what Sambo niggas like Angryman don't want to address about this situation. Is that what you are calling out black people on, trying to say, Angryman tried to say that, you niggas is acting like Jim Crow whites and you niggas is this, you niggas is that. The problem with Angryman's position is that everything he's criticizing black people on, white people have been doing the same thing when it comes to these scenarios, right? For example, the Daniel Penny situation. Daniel Penny killed a man who didn't even lay a finger on him, who didn't harm anybody, and white people justified it. The George Zimmerman case. All these different cases you see where a white cop unjustly kills a black person. White people are defending him. And we can go on and on, right? But namely, I want to stick with the Daniel Penny case because that is a huge sign of their hypocrisy, right? Because it shows that they are only coming to the defense of that individual because they're white. And Angryman is trying to say that that's what black people are doing with Carmelo Anthony. But when white people do that same thing, when it came to the Daniel Penny case, all of a sudden, we're silent. Nobody's calling that out. So basically, here's the thing. Here's the problem. Angryman can't call out these black people for doing this and saying they're wrong for it, because this scenario is not only completely different from the Daniel Penny case, but it would be, as of now, just looking at what's being claimed, it's way different, right? We have someone claiming self-defense as opposed to someone putting someone in a chokehold and they die because they never put their hands on someone, right? They never touched anybody. They're just screaming. White people justified that and said the dude was justified. So what we're seeing is hypocrisy, right? You have to understand, these white people, their problem with this situation isn't because it was unjust and all this. We don't have all the facts. So the real issue we're having here is that they have a problem because he's black. And that's just the bottom line. And the funny thing about this situation is, we don't even have all the facts, right? All the details, the video that they say is gonna, is out there or anything. We don't have any of that stuff. And yet and still, we have white people basically saying that he's guilty off rip. So he's guilty until proven innocent. He's claiming self-defense, but you have people who are en masse not trying to give him that they're not saying, okay, we don't have all the details yet, so let's wait. They're immediately saying he did it. They're immediately trying to portray him as a thug. And not only that, you see all of the racism behind this. You see all of the racism behind this. You see all of the racist rhetoric that these individuals are pushing behind this situation. Um, the typical, the typical, racist white rhetoric that they push about black people. I mean, come on, dude. Y'all already know. It's the same old, same old. It's nothing new. These people, they're not creative with it. It's the same old. The blacks, right? They're this, they're that, they're violent, whoop-de-whoop. They, just saying shit that don't even got nothing to do with the case, just to get out they cope, right? Because it's all a cope mechanism. That's all a lot of racism is, really. So, they're screaming the blacks. That's what this image on the screen is. You got the racist white dude screaming, these racist whites screaming the blacks. And, you got the elites in the background laughing, right? That's why I got the men in the suits in the background laughing, right? Because that is basically what the elites are doing. This is all to cause racial division, and all of these idiots are playing right into it. And the elites are laughing because it's like, y'all ain't never gonna figure this out, right? These white people, they don't care about Austin Metcalf's life being lost. That's not what they're angry about. Because here's the funny thing. They're using this situation to try to extrapolate that all black people are violent and criminals and predisposed to violence and all this nonsense. But what I find funny is these same white people, when a white kid shoots up a school and kills tons of white kids, they're not running around saying that we have a problem when it comes to white males and violence in the society, and that we need to really look into the violence that white males are committing, and that white males are predisposed to violence, and there's a violence problem. No, they're not doing none of that. So what it shows is they don't really care about the lives of white people. They don't really care about any of that, right? They're using the situation to try to justify their hatred of black people and justify harming black people, because they are these racist whites are a bunch of savages, right? And this is why I have the thumbnail. You might be wondering, why do I have, for some of you who might know comics and whatnot, you might be wondering, why do I have Doomsday as the thumbnail? Because, briefly going over who Doomsday is, basically, briefly, Doomsday is a genetically engineered crash out. I'll just put it that way, just in the simplest terms. He's a D1 crash out made in the lab, right? And in the comics, right, Doomsday goes around, he arrives on Earth and he's just crashing out, destroying shit, and Superman has to stop him. And Doomsday, trying to basically, he's trying to pack Superman up, and he's just destroying shit, right? Doomsday's destroying buildings, destroying shit, killing people. That's basically these racist whites. That is what they are at the core. They are a group of savages. Everything they want to say about black people, it's really projection. They are the ones that are violent. They are the ones that want to cause destruction and chaos, right? Because they really just want to justify trying to attack black people. They want to justify harming them because they are Doomsday from DC. They are some savages. They are a group of just wicked individuals. And that's all they want to do. They want to cause destruction and chaos. They don't want peace on the earth. They don't want, righteousness and justice in the earth. They want division and hate. And that's all they live by. And that's all they are. And this is why a lot of these individuals are miserable, man. They're constantly trying to cope with this racism. It is a drug for them. And this case is another example of them trying to push their nonsense and just really delve into their dumb ideology, because they understand that deep down they know that they're backward. Their thinking is backwards. Their thinking is dumb, but they have to try and make it seem like they're the way they think is correct. They have to try to convince themselves that they are correct in whatever nonsense they go into. So this Carmelo Anthony case helps them to try to justify their goofiness, right? But they don't have that same energy when it's a white person doing something. So at the end of the day, it's always a sign of hypocrisy. It's always a sign of their bias, right? And Angryman's Sambo ass sits up there trying to make it seem like black people are racist and black people are trying to be the new Jim Crow. And I'm just like listening to this goofy nigga, man. And I'm like, bruh, you know damn well that you full of shit. But this is the job of Sambos. I mean, we even got dudes like Anthony Brown, Logan calling this shit out. And everybody calls him a Sambo. Even he had to call this shit out, right? And the racist whites was going in on him, telling him to go back to Africa. So we see the racism in this, man. We see this. Angryman can run around all he wants trying to make it seem like we wrong, but we see this. He wants to try to play on your intelligence. This nigga is dumb, right? I mean, even Tim Pool had to come out and say, hey, man, I mean, you know, even though we don't have all the details, man, it looks like self-defense, you know. Even Tim Pool is like, bro, what is this? You know, that's how you know y'all niggas, the Sambos, y'all doing too much, bro. Y'all really doing too much, man. Y'all, I mean, come on, dog. But that's how they moving, man. This is how they moving. So that's really all I got to say for this video, man. I really got to make a separate video, man, on the pathology of these racist whites. That is going to be a video that I'm really going to have to look into more. But, yeah, man, Angryman is the Sambo, and all these other Sambos, they don't want to address none of the stuff I mentioned in this video. They don't want to address none of the hypocrisy of white people. Angryman will sit up there and talk about black people being hypocrites, but don't want to call out white people's hypocrisy. That's all I got to say for this video, man. I'm out.